Hello and welcome to another exciting episode following me, Almost Immortal, as I play all the mods 9 to the sky. As you can see, between episodes I got an Obtainium. It was quite an easy get, and all I had to do was go to the end, find a end highlands, and dig. I needed 36 Unobtainium to get the seed, which didn't take long at all. So now I've got Unobtainium crafting passively in the background. I also set up some auto traders here to feed in emeralds and books, and to feed out looting and vitality enchanted books, which I'm popping in the enchantment library. Today, I would like to focus on blood magic. I've already set up a little area it's going to go over here. Let's jump right in. To get the star, we need to use blood magic to get acceleration runes here. It's a little bit involved to get because we need to get demonic slates and we need to upgrade our blood altar to tier 4. I'll walk you through the steps and show you how I do that. First thing to do is to place the blood altar down, and we'll use the book to get the layout for the tier 5 blood altar, which is what we're going to work up to. If we just right click on that where I've already placed it. So that'll stay there until I either log off or dismiss it. And we can use this as a guide for how to build the tier 5 blood altar. So the first thing we want to do in blood magic is to start getting our blank slates. We do that by using the sacrificial knife that we used before in the previous episode. And that will fill the blood altar with life essence. And then we need to feed in blocks such as kiwi, and it will convert them. I've already set up a little thing here to do that automatically. So it's the same setup we used last time in the Britannia episode, and I've just filled this with kiwi. I've popped a filter on here so that it's whitelist and regulate mode enabled to only send one. And then on the output, I've just blocked kiwi here on the blacklist. So let's give this a try. If I use the sacrificial knife here, just to fill up the altar, that'll slowly use it up. If I hover over, you can see there it's using the life essence, and that will start to create the blank slates. I've changed the filter on here so that it's a whitelist, and it's taking the blank slate in. So now we can see there's 2 blank slates. Nice and easy. We need our blank slates here alongside one of these blood orbs to be able to create the blank runes, which is what's going to surround these and create the structure that you saw before, which is this one here. Each of these is a type of rune. You can put blank runes here, or you can use various other ones like the speed rune. So to start things off, I'm going to sit here and just pop a bit of life essence in here. And then I'll get as many blank runes as I can, and then I'll make some speed runes and other such stuff to keep this going a bit faster. Before I continue with the altar, I thought I'd show you the different blood orbs that you can get. There are 5 different tiers, all holding a different capacity of life essence, and they store that in your blood network, which is basically just your store of essence that allows you to run and continue to channel the structures that you get through blood magic. I'm going to start with the weak blood orb because I think it's the only one that I can make on tier 1. And then hopefully we can build up to the magician's one, which will keep us going for a while, or even the master blood orb. To start with, all I need to do is pop a diamond in the blood altar, and it will take 2000 life essence and turn it into the weak blood orb. So you just pop the diamond in, and as you see, it's taking in the life essence. You can speed this up by adding the speed runes and adding other runes around this when you build up the different tiers, but for now we just have to wait. There it is. If you want to add more life essence to it, you just pop it back in and it takes it. Or you can also right click it while you're holding it and it will sacrifice. You do have to use it, I believe, the first time on yourself for it to link to you, and then you can start filling it with life essence. I've got some blank runes and I've also got some speed runes. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to upgrade it to tier 2. It does say in the quest that you can only upgrade the cardinal directions with speed runes or other runes when it comes to the first tier. The rest of them, all of the outside ones there, can be. So the four corners will have to place blank runes and then a speed rune in the middle. Just like this. And that should have upgraded it to tier 2, and we can find out if it turns this into a blank slate and then continues to infuse it with life essence, then we know it's working because it'll be upgrading it to the reinforced slate. There it is. So that'll take more essence and then it'll go up to the reinforced slate. And because now we've got speed runes in there, this is going a lot faster as well. And there's our first reinforced slate. To get a tier 3 altar, it's very similar to tier 2, only we need another 20 runes. You can use blank runes, but I think I'm just going to try and get some speed ones so that we can get through this a lot quicker. And here's what tier 3 looks like. I've used all speed runes around this except for one, which is a rune of self-sacrifice that I got as a quest reward. This just increases the amount of life essence that's taken from me when I use the sacrificial knife. I know this is working because it's going a lot faster than it was before with all the speed runes surrounding it. You can see it going down there. Look at that. And that turns them into blank slates a lot quicker. At this tier, we can get imbued slates, which are these ones. Which is the one before the one we're looking for. So we're not far off. We do need to do a ritual before tier 4. And I'd also like to set up some sort of automated life essence so that I can take life essence from other enemies and add that to my blood altar, which will then passively generate the slates that we need. As with the other slates that we've got, we just need to leave it in there to continue to upgrade. So there's reinforced, and as we give it more life essence, it will turn into imbued. There we go. I did already do that, and I've also already got the next step, which is the ritual stones and the master ritual stone. Now we need to do a ritual, but to get that, we need these inscription tools. To get them, we're going to need 1 magma cream in the altar, 1 ghast tear, 1 piece of obsidian, and 1 block of lapis lazuli. So I'll do that, and then I'll make the ritual diviner, and I'll show you how they work. I've made a ritual diviner, and I've also made a lava crystal. The lava crystal I'm now going to pop in the blood altar, and we're going to make a weak activation crystal. We need this to be able to activate the ritual. Similar to the slates, you just pop that in there, and you give it some life essence, and it will convert it. Just like that. So what we do with the ritual diviner is we have to crouch and right click until we get the ritual we're after. For the first one, we want Edge of the Hidden Realm. Then we want to put down our Master Ritual Stone. Pop it about there. And then all you have to do is hover over this, and you can see that's the ritual we're going to make. That's the structure it's going to look like. And then you right click on it. Press and hold, and it will put down all of the ritual stones you've currently got and turn them into these. So all we need is more ritual stones. To get the ritual stones, we just need some reinforced slates. So I'll go ahead and make a bunch of those so that we can get as many ritual stones as we need, and then I'll bring you back. Now that we've got enough ritual stones to finish this, we need to right click on here with our weak activation crystal. It's important to note though, we need some life essence in our soul network. So I've made one of these, a magician's blood orb, by putting a block of gold in the altar. And then I've also put that back in the altar once it was done so that I could fill it up with life essence. And I've just kept it going until the altar filled with blood and didn't keep adding it to the orb. And what you should see is, there we go, a rush of energy flows through the ritual. And then, here we go. This is our little portal to the next place. So all you do is you click on this here on the other side and you'll end up here in the Hidden Realm. There'll be a chest waiting for you which has got 1 or 2 of these iron keys in it. And then you just choose one of these doors like this and brilliant. There'll be enemies and there'll also be something we're looking for is these Tau fruit. There's also usually a few chests in each room, and if you're lucky, you'll find another key. Sometimes you'll also find this, saturated tau, which you get by putting mobs on top of this tau, and it'll convert it into saturated tau by taking their essence. Looking at the quests, it's the saturated tau that we're trying to get, because we want to make one of these, a weak blood shard, which we make in an alchemical reaction chamber. So I'll get a few of these saturated taus, and I'll go back and I'll show you how we work with the alchemical reaction chamber and how we upgrade to the tier 4 altar. To upgrade to tier 4, we need these large bloodstone bricks. And to get them, we need a weak blood shard. To get that, we need a sanguine reverter. And to get that, we need to go through a bunch of steps using tartric gems. To be able to make either of these, we need a hellfire forge, and we also need an alchemical reaction chamber. So I've got both of those down here. I've got them set up for the items that we need in a row here. Starting off with the petty tartric gem. We need some sort of demon will, which you get from random enemies in the demon realm. And you can also get it by using these soul snares. When you throw them at an enemy and then you kill the enemy, it will give you their demonic will. So for the petty tartric gem, 1 glass, 1 lapis, 1 redstone, and 1 gold with the demon will to charge it up. Brilliant. I've made 2 of these because for the future ones, for example, the lesser one, we need a petty tartric gem to be able to make the lesser. Now these tartric gems, we can actually hold the demon will inside them. And one way to charge them is by creating the sentient sword, this here. One thing we can also do is we can enchant these so that we can increase the amount that we get. For example, through looting, which I am going to do. So I've just gone to my enchanted library and I took out some looting and unbreaking books and just enchanted that. So now when I kill things, I should hopefully get more demon will and it'll charge up my tartric gems. I do need to make another one because it consumed the one I just used when I made the sentient sword. Before I can do the next one, I'm going to need to slay some enemies. One thing we can do, though, is we can throw the demon will on the floor, and what'll happen is any tartric gem we've got will absorb the demon will. I'm going to have a very quick segue now into apotheosis spawners. And what I'm going to do is the spawners I've been collecting from the Nether and from the Hidden Realm, I'm going to make more efficient, and I'm going to make the enemies docile. Now, I'll just pop the spawner over here and show you how we can change these. Say there. So the first thing we want to make is a conduit. That's this here. Conduits make it so that enemies ignore any players. So give it that, it will no longer come after us. As it says there at the bottom, ignores players. Another thing we can do is give it a golden apple, which makes it mindless. It says it gives it no AI. So it'll spawn and it'll just stand there on top of the spawner. If we use nether quartz in our offhand and then use blaze rods, it reduces the spawn range down so that we can only have it spawn on top of that. I've reduced that to spawn range 1. If we give it a dragon egg, it will ignore all conditions, but we have to make sure the nether quartz is not in our hand. There we go. So now they will spawn whether it's daytime, nighttime, whatever. Doesn't matter if they're only going to spawn in the nether, it'll completely ignore that and it will just spawn them all around. We can also give the spawner all the modium, and if we do, that'll reduce the spawn delay down to a minimum of 100. Conversely, if we give them unobtainium, that will reduce the max spawn delay, which again, we can reduce down to 100. Finally, we can give them ghast tears, which increases the maximum amount of entities that it will spawn. What we've just done is make it so that they're all dumb and they won't attack us. They will ignore us and will continue to spawn whether we're here or not. They will spawn in any condition, and it will spawn up to 16 of them. Now, if we have a quick look at our Tartaric gem, we've got 47 Demon Will in there. Try killing something. We've now got 55.37. So we can use these as a decent source of Demon Will to charge up our Tartaric gems whenever we want to. And now that that's full, we can make the next Tartaric gem, which is the Lesser Tartaric gem. Now, the common one requires a lesser one to make, so we're going to have to use that to upgrade the petty one. Just charge this up a little bit first. There we go, that's our second Lesser Tartaric. And then all we need for the common Tartaric gem is an imbued slate, 1 diamond, a block of gold, and the Lesser Tartaric gem. There we go, that's the common one. Now we can make the Sanguine Reverter. We need some sort of stone, like deep slate or tough, etc. We need shears, we need an iron ingot, and we need an imbued slate. So I'll use kivy, iron, shears, imbued slate. And then we'll just need to charge up our common Tartaric gem a little bit. One thing to add, if you've got 2 gems like I do, you can press and hold right click on the gem that's currently charged and it will pass it over to another gem in your inventory. There we go, that seems to be enough. And that's the Sanguine Reverter. Now we can move on to the Alchemical Reaction Chamber. I believe we're going to need a bucket for this to pop some life essence in here. All you do, you bring the bucket, you pop it in, and it deposits it there. We need to pop in a saturated tau, the Sanguine Reverter, and then we get the weak blood shard. The weak blood shard we can use with any sort of stone, and it will give us the large bloodstone bricks, which we can then use to upgrade our altar to tier 4. Let me grab enough runes so that I can do that, and I'll show you exactly how that goes together. I've got all the parts together to make the tier 4, and it's literally just following this pattern here. I've made 14 Rune of Sacrifice, which is going to improve the amount of life essence that we get from each sacrifice. Currently we've been using self-sacrifice, but I want to do a ritual to be able to automate the life essence, which is going to mean sacrificing a bunch of mobs. So I'll put 7 there, and then I'll do the same over this side, and then the other 2 I will do speed runes. There we go, that's all the runes down there. And then for these corners, it's any non-air block, similar to how we did the other ones. And then on the top, we want these, the large bloodstone bricks. There we are. And then we'll see if that worked by seeing if we can make the next slate. And there we go. We got a demonic slate. So it has worked. Fantastic. The demonic slate is the one that we're looking for the star quest, because we need that to be able to make the acceleration rune, which is what we need for the Wither's Compass. We could sit here and stab away at ourselves and add life essence to the altar. It's a slow process, so instead, I'm going to find a ritual now to try and automate that process. To do that, though, I need to put a block of coal in a tier 4 altar to get 2 inscription tool dusks. because I want to create this, the Ritual Diviner Dusk. I'm also going to need another demonic slate. So the ritual I want to do is this one here, the Well of Suffering. So I'm going to place the Master Ritual Stone just there, on that level. And then I'll clear a little bit of room out underneath here to make sure it can be placed. And then we just right click on this here with our diviner. There we go, that's what it's going to build. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some more ritual stones so we can finish this. I placed the Master Ritual Stone one block lower than it was because it wasn't going and it kept giving me like an error just saying that you feel this isn't configured correctly. Now, when I right click on it with the weak crystal, it says you feel a push, but you are too weak to perform this ritual. And that's because there's not enough life essence in my soul network. I need to fill my blood orb. I'm pretty sure I need 40,000 life essence or LP to be able to start this ritual. So I'm going to need at least a Master Blood Orb, which is going to need a weak blood shard in the Blood Altar. It took a while to get, but I've got a Master Blood Orb now, and I've also filled it with life essence. I've put a zombie there just to test if it works. There we are, it's damaging it. And it's filled our Blood Altar. There was a little bit in there already, so... Now I'll cover this and make a place for the spawners. There we go, that's that set up with several spawners. And I've done exactly the same as I did for the other one earlier. I've just made them ignore players, ignore conditions, no AI, max entities, and spawn range 1. Now let's see how fast this is. Keeping it nice and topped up. So now we can passively create any of the slates we need. Let's have a look which ones it is we do need. So if we're looking for the acceleration rune, we're going to need several demonic slates and plenty of blank slates. We need 4 acceleration runes per craft of the Wither's Compass, each of which needs 1 speed rune, each of which needs 2 blank slates. So that's 2 blank slates and 1 demonic slate per acceleration rune. And if we need 18 Wither's Compasses, that's 18 times 4, which should be 72 acceleration runes, which means we need 72 demonic slates and 144 blank slates. So I'll start off with just a blank slate, and then we can just leave that to passively create. One thing I did to try and stop so many items spawning from the enemies dying is I put a normal item trash can here with a basic item collector just set to this area under here. As you can see, it stops just at the floor level. That should just stop loads of items from congregating and hopefully should stop it from lagging as much. I left this for a while and I've now got enough demonic slates and probably enough blank slates. I did realise a little bit after setting this going that the speed runes we need require a blank rune, which also requires a blank slate. So hopefully we have enough. So first we'll make a bunch of blank runes, and then we'll make some acceleration runes. There we are. Probably more than we need. So we have almost everything we need for a Wither's Compass. We're missing a Witherless Rose, which we might be able to make. So let's do that. We need 18. There we are. And then we just need to keep the Wither predictions that are being made by hostile neural networks until we've got 18. And we can do that easily by just removing the Wither prediction from the interfaces filter, which I've done. So now when those are made, they'll go straight into our storage. I've already made 18 wither builders after we did the industrial foregoing episode. And then the last thing is just a nether star generator. What I'll do for that is quickly set up a few patterns so that I can auto-craft them when I need them. I've set that up, so let's see if it works. It does. So we're going to need 36 of these. We've made 2, so I'll make another 34. Look at that. Super quick. Just wait for the wither predictions, and then we can make our wither compasses. And since we were creating the nether star generators anyway, I thought I'd make the pattern for an ender generator, which I have done, and that closes off generator galore. There we go. So we have enough wither predictions now. Let's make 18 wither compasses. So easy. Look at that. And that is our first on the inside ring of the star quests. We're almost done on the left-hand side here. I think I'm going to leave this video there. We've managed to whiz through blood magic, and we've already got 18 withers compasses. Next episode, I think I'm going to focus on both forcecraft and occultism. Try and close both of those off in the same one, because I don't think they take too long to get through. Before then, I might take down the blood altar because we don't need it now, and we can clear up some space over here. And it'll also help get rid of some of the lag that all of these witches here are causing. I ended up changing these to witches because they gave quite a bit more life essence compared to the zombies and blazers that were there. If you've stuck with me through to the end, I really appreciate it. I've had a great time. I hope you guys have. See you next time.